that we're live here. So, welcome back to another weekly edition of the What's Going On in Supply Chain This Week show. And today we've got a special guest calling in from all the way from Chicago this morning. Abby, you want to take a minute to introduce yourself and what you're doing to keep yourself busy these days?
I would love to. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to our little chat. My name is Abby Nawrocki. I am the CEO and founder of Stock, and Stock is working to make donation as easy as e-commerce fulfillment. So for all the brands and all the warehouses that want to donate excess inventory, get it off their docks, get it out of their warehouses, we make matching that inventory with the 1.5 million nonprofits as easy as pie, and then we handle all the logistics of getting it to the nonprofits.
And maybe like, can you help just folks understand the inspiration for this? Like what got you to this point of
Yeah.
launching Stock?
Uh, just living in the waste and the excess myself. So really the use case was the 4 million brands that sell on Shopify, the 20,000 3PLs that do their fulfillment, and brands in the small and medium sized category were going out of business at an incredibly high rate. And these 3PLs were holding on to all of this excess inventory, one pallet here, 6 pallets there, 2 truckloads there, whatever it might be, across tens of brands every single month. And so we were just throwing it away. We were in the warehouses, myself and our teams, and we were ordering dumpster after dumpster from Waste Management and just throwing the pallets into the trash. And I thought there must be a better way. And so nights and weekends years ago, I started supporting and building the nonprofit network and moving some of this inventory into nonprofits. And it's really taken off. It's been amazing for 3PLs to white label it, offer it as an additional VAS service. They offer returns, they offer subscription, they offer kitting and FBA prep and all of these things. And so donation is now just another thing for them to offer. And it's also super supportive for them as business owners to ensure that the space in their warehouse is generating revenue. And like I said, their processes are optimized and their inventory is optimized. So it's been really fun. It's incredibly enjoyable to onboard a new nonprofit, every day, every week, hear their stories, their mission, the impact that they have in their communities, and just watch the connections between all of the inventory that otherwise would have just been trash going to spectacular homes.
Can you give a quick example of like a recent cool story?
Yeah. Okay. There's a lot of good ones. We have and there's a lot of like very obscure ones, right? We have a beverage brand in the network that does THC drinks, and you might be thinking like, who could possibly use drinks containing THC? There's not going to be a nonprofit that would want that, right? But then you
Yeah.
think about cancer research studies and trials, and you think like even Burning Man is a nonprofit in and of itself. And so there's
Uh,
always way to redistribute inventory to very niche, very specific nonprofits. We just did one with a tactical apparel brand. And so they have t-shirts, but they're, it's like a banana and a pineapple, and the pineapple's holding a grenade and the banana is holding an AR, or an AK-47 or something.
mhm,
It's like, okay, of course that's not going to go to a youth foundation, but there might
mhm.
be a really phenomenal veterans organization that would absolutely love that apparel, right? And so it's like
Yeah,
very niche, very specific, but there's a home for everything.
I like it. I like it. I think it's a very relevant endeavor these days because of the fast, cheap goods, the kind of consumerism culture that we've formed, the ability for brands to enter the marketplace with such low sort of hurdles to get through. So, kind of like anyone and everyone can launch an e commerce company these days. So, these sort of like repercussions of like what you're trying to address are naturally kind of like the second or third wave of what needs to happen to fill out the ecosystem and make sure that there's something that happens with the whole cycle, I suppose.
Exactly. We say we're a missing link in the supply chain, and that each of these brands should very much have a process for liquidation, a process for disposal, and a process for donation. It's all part of that suite. If you're smart and you're managing your inventory an intelligent way, you understand that that's part of planning, that that's part of procurement, that that's part of forecasting and supply management, demand management, and making sure that you know how to execute on each of those process paths.
When I think about when you're talking about like in your mention there about talking with the brand and thinking through like what to do with their inventory after they cease to exist as an organization, it's kind of like planning like your funeral and like writing your will and stuff. It's kind of a sad or like divorce, talking about your divorce stuff when you're on your wedding day. It's like having to even like have that thought is already kind of like admitting a little bit that there's a chance you may not. It's a good chance you're not going to succeed. And what do you do at the end of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's twofold. One, obviously, healthy, thriving brands are always going to have anywhere from 8 to 15% of excess inventory as well. So
Okay.
just because you're smart and planning ahead doesn't mean you're going to fail. But yeah,
Mhm.
to your point, like it behooves you to plan ahead and to make sure. I sometimes call myself the Grim Reaper of e-comp. I just come around to collect the bodies, which I think, is
Yeah.
the the different character. But anyways, the point is it's still smart. It's still smart in a situation where a brand is thriving, or in a situation where, hey, this could be incredibly costly at the end of the
Mhm.
life of the brand if I'm paying to store inventory as I'm closing down shop, if I'm paying to dispose, or if I'm getting pennies on the dollar to liquidate. It's much better to donate, and it's much better to have that process path established.
Right. Okay. Okay. Good point. So you don't necessarily even a well-run brand and whatnot can still run and have extra inventory on hand that they need to find a new home for. So totally makes
Yes.
sense. So a quick shout out here then. So the reason why you're on today is because you and Stock are one of the sponsors for the upcoming Warehousing After Dark this week. That is taking place on the 19th, which is Wednesday. It's at 7 p.m. Central. This is sort of the monthly gathering for warehouse folks at the virtual Supply Chain Social Club. The next day is Global Trade Cafe, which is at 10 a.m. This one is specifically designed for folks in Europe and Africa and Middle East to be able to join in. And then just a quick note about we've just started uh, kind of putting out the invites and the notices for the Supply Chain Social Club holiday party on the 9th. So I'm sharing the behind the screens view of this. I don't necessarily usually do that, but it was the best way to show it for today. So you can come out on Wednesday night and hear more and chat with Abby more directly on exactly what she's up to there at Stock. But let's dive into a little bit what's going on this week and kind of what's coming up in the near future. So this week we'll just roll through the list of events here. That's usually the best way. Quick shout out to CSCMP for being one of the sponsors of the calendar of events. But feel free to chime in here, Abby, wherever something piques your interest. So, what I'm seeing here is on Monday, which is today, ProcureCon Marketing is taking off in Austin. Tomorrow, Corber is hosting a supply chain summit, and it's a bit of like a grand opening of, I think, like an innovation center here in DFW. And I was planning on being at that event until Demerco said, "Hey, Nathan, we're opening, having a grand opening and a 45-year anniversary out in San Francisco on Tuesday. You want to come out and have some fun with us?" And I was like, "Sure, I'll take a quick flight out." So that's actually where I will be this week. Is I'll be catching a flight tonight to San Francisco, and this event is open for everyone to register. Not everyone, I guess, will be accepted. Obviously, Demerco wants to make sure that the folks that are attending are relevant people to have in the room in the global air freight forwarding game. But that's what I'll be up to. And then on Tuesday, also, Women in Supply Chain is kicking off in Florida. And Abby, did you mention you're going to be there?
I will be down in Florida, yes, catching an early flight down tomorrow. This is one I'm really looking forward to, as I have not been in person yet for this event, and they've been doing it now for a few years, and it's a phenomenal network. They're actually kicking off the event tomorrow afternoon, doing some giving back to the local community in terms
Okay.
of packing and supplying local nonprofits with inventory. So it's a perfect fit. I'm looking forward to it. And, they do a lot of really awesome stuff in terms of the trivia and the speaker series. It's just a really great in-person gathering, both for men and women, focused around women in the supply chain.
Interesting timing because Women in Trucking took place this past last week here in Texas and Dallas. So interesting for those two organizations to be hosting their conferences like in back-to-back weeks.
Yep.
Let's see. Up in Canada, up in Ottawa, there's a international trade summit going on. There's a webinar going on about tariffs and trade because why not? And then on the 19th, out in Zurich, for those folks in Europe, there is a Unpacking DPW Amsterdam 2025 event going on. Panel discussion, which is basically, it's like the after party from the conference, is kind of how I would say. Like, the conference happened, now this is like the post conference debrief kind of deal. Then we have Warehousing After Dark on Wednesday night, as I mentioned. Rail Trends 2025 is taking place in New York from Thursday and Friday. And then also on Thursday is the Global Trade Cafe, November. Also on Thursday, we've got a webinar about procurement outlook for 2026. And then lastly, but not leastly, in Houston, they're hosting a Harvesting Connection sort of happy hour there in the ISM chapter in Houston. So other than what you're heading down to, for women in supply chain, any other like conferences and events on your calendar for the next couple of
I
weeks or
think
couple of months?
Fulfillment IQ is doing a really great one December
Okay.
5th
Okay.
up in Toronto. It's a 1 day conference that is going to be bringing together, all the leaders in our little supply chain circle around innovation and what's happening for 2026. So that one's a good one to keep on the radar as well. But yeah, I mean, right now, we're going into Black Friday, Cyber Monday here pretty soon. So people are going to be heads down and holding their breath as they process their millions of orders until early December.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ship Hero just came out and said, hey, this weekend was a record level number of orders, it seemed like, within Ship Hero's network. And that today was probably going to be a pretty busy day for everyone packing out orders today. A quick note and a quick shout out to Sergere. So I will flip on the Where's Nathan tracker when I hop on the plane tonight. So if anyone wants to meet up tomorrow in San Francisco, I'll be there for tonight and then tomorrow. And I know there's a handful of folks there in Chicago that are in my network. So I'll reach out to a few of you all and see if you want to have dinner or something. And then also a quick note that there is that book project going on, and the supply chain story time. And coincidentally, Abby, your name is right here already on the list of contributors. So thanks for that. Maybe a little teaser of the story you're going to share.
It's a good one. It's one filled with chaos and excitement. It's a thriller where we were working for one of the 3PLs that was 4PLing, which is actually it's pros and cons to every strategy, an interesting strategy in and of itself. And we were moving from a warehouse down in Florida, moving everything out, putting it into a different warehouse, and it was quite the adventure. So there was tears,
Yeah.
there was laughter, there was panic, there was success. It was
Yeah.
a good one.
That's the classic warehouse move. I think. I think everyone's got those stories. So interested to see that one. And then, lastly but not least, just a quick note that everything that we talked about here today is all on the supplychainy.com website, supplychain.com/events. There's a straight up calendar going on there. If there's an event that you're attending or that you're hosting or that you're going to and it's not here, let me know. We want to make sure we can't get every event going on everywhere, like the Fulfillment IQ one that you mentioned. So I got to put it out there to everyone for you to take a little bit of time. Let me know where you're going or what you're doing or what events you're hosting. And if you want to come on and sit in Abby's seat and be part of this, also let me know. I think it wasn't the worst way to start a Monday for Abby, I suppose. We'll see. I'll get the post. I'll get the post call notes from her in a second.
It was
So
wonderful. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
all right. Well, with that, we're about to hit our 15-minute time and we'll kind of wrap things up. Any last words from your side, Abby?
I just want to say the warehousing after dark events are my favorite because you get such a diversity in leadership level, from supervisors to warehouse, directors or GMs to executives, and across industries. It's not just within the warehousing and operations side. And so those are some of my favorite events because even though they're incredibly curated, they're incredibly diverse, and everybody joins, and it's very easy to talk to and learn from people. So that's the one I'm looking forward to most.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll see you there at Warehousing After Dark on Wednesday then.
Sounds good.
All right.